Hey friend, in this episode, we're discussing what the main reason is that you might not be achieving your goals. If you think you're comfortable, I've got news for you. It's probably something else. So stay tuned.
Lego.
Let's go. You feeling comfortable?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I feel not comfortable, actually, but it's okay because I'm not going to be comfortable for another 2-ish months.
You look good with your heaviness over there.
My heaviness.
What, 6
I know.
months, 7 months?
I have to I'm tucking in my sweater under my boobs because I'm like, I want everyone to see the belly, not like me just look like humongous right here.
I think we hit record.
I know.
Oh.
You know what? We keep it entertaining.
That belly
real.
is entertaining.
J-Lo, I'm real.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort. So.
J-Lo got the booty, you got the belly.
Yeah, it's very real right now. I'd rather it be the reverse. But it's okay. I'm very excited about this baby, the last baby.
Baby.
It's very, it's uncomfortable, but very special at the same time. So,
Sure.
I think that just really honestly, that goes for a lot of great things in our lives, in human beings' lives, is that anything great typically comes without a season of comfort. You know, it comes with a season of discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary, I think, for earning what it is you want. But there's a lot of talk we often have to work people through is really truly identifying what is comfort. Because, you know, I think everyone that has set any kind of goal and gotten motivated or ambitious about something in their life has seen that meme, you know, that drawing or whatever it is everyone's seen online. It's like the circle and it says your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, the magic.
Yeah.
That's outside of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. And, you know, you might hear this a lot or you see this a lot, but there's so much wisdom packed into that. Especially like if I were to sit here with you and we dissected our rise out of what we thought was comfort was actually discomfort into actualizing our goals that we live today. When I look back, I had so much resistance.
Mm-hmm. And
I thought it was semi-comfortable, but in reality, it wasn't comfort. It was just familiar. Mm-hmm. And familiar things, familiar habits, familiar patterns, familiar thoughts, familiar TV shows, whatever it was, because they all ended up being excuses. They only felt comfortable at the time because it was something I've known and done for a very long time. But in reality, wasn't actually getting me anything I wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as humans, you know, it's like in our DNA to seek comfort, right? Because that's typically safety, right? If you go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, it's like comfort equaled safe. So we always sought out safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was like the cave, you know, you were safe from the weather, from the rain or whatever. That was comfortable. That made you feel safe. And like I said, it's just in our DNA. So now, you know, you find today when people seeking to avoid struggle, to avoid challenges, to avoid, you know, not worrying about anything because they find comfort in that safety of avoiding those things. But then it's like that trap. I heard it said comfort is a trap. And that is a trap because as you opened up by saying that little meme that says, you know, all your goals and that or big stuff are outside
the
of
magic.
That, right? Yeah, that's where the magic happens. Like I heard it said
Bing.
once, it's kind of like the rubber band. That's why I actually give me this rubber band because it was like,
that's why.
Yeah, because it's like all your goals, dreams, and aspirations can only fit inside of your comfort zone, right? So look how small that is for some people. But as you begin to stretch it, you can fit more goals and dreams and aspirations into that comfort zone.
Yeah. If you're listening on podcast right now, head over to YouTube so you can see this awesome analogy.
See my awesome analogy. But I saw this done before, and it was like, it made so much sense because I was such a visual learner. And I was like, oh, I've heard this many, many times. But then to see that really, and maybe I was just prepared for it, or I was ready for it to receive the information. That's probably more likely.
That's huge.
But it's kind of like, I heard it like in a fitness analogy. It's kind of like, oh, well, think about it. The more you stretch or break down a muscle, that's uncomfortable. So you like seek that discomfort, cardiovascular, lifting weights, whatever, to create that to create that growth. And then all of a sudden you can fit more, this grows.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in your business too. It's like, as you begin to reach out, and we started to talk, get out of our comfort zone and speak to more people, make more contacts, to put ourselves out there. It's like our comfort zone just grew.
Yep.
And as it grew, the more uncomfortable you get, the more stuff that you can fit in there. All your goals and aspirations now can fit inside of this thing.
Yeah, expand that again, because so it's like, what gets thrown in there that you didn't have previously, and that's smaller, you couldn't fit? Confidence, skill set, accomplishments, results. It's so, so, so valuable. I think one of the things we come across a lot, and why this is so, so, so important, and for those of us people that listen to us or watch YouTube or listen to the podcast or just even following our reels, if you could come away from this topic really, with at least one huge aha, it would be that. If you could come away with another one, it would be that everyone sets goals. And one of the most common things we see when we get on coaching sessions is our first goal is to always figure out, what does that individual want? We help them identify their goals, get clear goals, not just, I want to make more money. How much money do you need to earn? Why is that important? Breaking out everything. We identify what's the desire behind that, right? But the next, and probably, it's so hard to say what's the most important in that process, because together they are the most important thing. But without this next step, none of that happens. So it's breaking down into necessary actions. So, anytime we do a coaching session, we're always identifying with individuals the next 3 steps. And how often, Harold, do we get back on a coaching session following having done that? And when we go back and say, okay, well, last time we talked, we identified you wanted this because of this, and that you needed to do this to get it.
Right.
Have you completed your steps? And a lot of times people say no, right?
Yeah, most of the time.
And so when we get down to it, we want to help people break habits. We want to create structure in their routine so that they can take action. And I'm always like, well, okay, why didn't you do this first action here, which was to time block an hour of social media time doing XYZ? Why didn't that happen? Oh, it's just so hard. I get home after work and I have to do the dishes, and then my husband wants me to watch TV with them. So what you're saying is that you watch TV instead of doing this action. Okay, I get it. But why? Because it's comfortable, or because it's familiar.
Right.
And it's just so
Well,
important.
Think about how many people have stayed in a job that they didn't want or didn't like, or even say hate it, was miserable at it. But even with saying all those negative words, they were comfortable.
Yeah, it was familiar.
It was familiar. Exactly.
So here's the thing.
It was steady. It was just good enough. It was the fear of getting uncomfortable again, to find a new job, to make the friends there, to learn the new tasks, to all those struggles or challenges. Wasn't worth it. Like it was more comfortable to stay in the misery. So to your point, like staying comfortable at home in your routine that's getting you more of what you got, it's just a trap.
Exactly. It's the hamster wheel. You got to identify where you're at with this. What your thinking process is when, after you've set the goal, And if you've come to realize the actions that you have to take to achieve it, if you don't realize what the actions are, that's the next step. But you've either working with someone that can help you break it down into actions, and or you know what those actions are. You're either going to feel or think, I don't want to do that. That's could be the immediate thought.
Yeah.
The second one is, I want to do it, I don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
So addressing what comfort actually is, I feel like is the next important step, because that kind of thinking, if you're there, that's not comfort at all. The actual meaning of comfort is to be without pain, frustration, grief, needing, longing.
Right.
If you were in comfort, you wouldn't have
all that anxiety and
Exactly.
conflict and staying in toxic relationships or in jobs you hated and you're miserable at. That's a good point. And I know like where we are now, and this kind of can fall in comfort or disrupt patterns. Sometimes I talk about things and like they all kind of coincide, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that. I saw someone had a shirt on. I was watching something on YouTube. Usually I only watch YouTube to learn. I know some people watch to laugh at dumb shit and whatever, and that's cool. My kids like to do that. But I usually, if I'm going to invest that time, 99.9999% of the time, it's to learn something. And it was this, and even just watching this guy, he was doing these just awkward things. And his shirt said, and he's probably someone known, but I'm not that familiar with keeping up, but it was like, seek discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be a hashtag that's out there too. And that was about a month ago or 2 months ago. And I was like, it's like what we always preach, disrupt patterns, right? Change things up to grow. And it's like this morning or yesterday and this morning, it's like I woke up and there's benefits to like the Wim Hof method.
Mm-hmm.
And keep up with me here. The Wim Hof method of the cold showers and the cold dips and all that. Like physiologically speaking, like inflammation and all that. But to me, the biggest thing is it gets me uncomfortable and it builds the grit and it builds the mind control and it builds all of that. All the other stuff is what we call lagniappe or bonus, right? And it's like, this morning I did it again. Like I did cold shower and you're like, you're nuts. And I'm like, dude, I'm just looking to get uncomfortable. Because if you can get uncomfortable and things like that, bigger and bigger things you're less fearful. Like there's little like things that other people sweat. Like, oh man, how did you do that? How'd you say that? How'd you go do that? It's like, it's nothing because you begin to push your comfort zone and expand it. Mm-hmm. And I know for some people, they're just like, I don't know. I know it's hard to do. It's like when I stood, for instance, and I'm using the pool and the cold shower as an example, because as small as it may sound, I just think it's a great analogy. Like when I walked outside to go in our pool, I think it was 49 degrees. And that's pretty cold when you're submerged in water. And I remember I stood out there. I was walking around in my bathing suit because I told my son, I had Soren and Stellan. So I had my 7-year-old and 3-year-old. You were gone with the girls at a dance thing. And I told them, and this is me pushing my comfort zone or expanding it. And I said, hey, I'm going in the pool. He said, you're going to do what? And I said, I'm going in the pool. And he said, you heated it up? I said, no. He's like, all right, Dad. So next thing you know, I kept looking over at the pool and I was like, man, and it was cold outside too. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not going out there. That's crazy. So what I did, I started stripping down. I got out of my warm socks. I got out of my pajamas. I got down to a bathing suit. I was walking around the house in a bathing suit. I went outside, threw the trash out. So I was acclimating. I kept looking outside and I said, you're nuts. You know, this is what we fight. And this is just an analogy so you can kind of visualize, you know, breaking out of comfort zones in different ways. But for me, that was it. And literally I walk out. So Stellan goes, are you going to do this or not? And I'm like, oh, no. I said, come on. So we went outside.
That's good.
And I walk outside and I walk to the pool and I'm standing there and I'm like, here, you're going to time me. I'm going to do 3 minutes. I'm standing there for probably 3 minutes outside the pool, talking myself out of it because I didn't want to get uncomfortable. It was at that point I was comfortable standing in the sun in 50-degree weather
with no shirt
on, and just pajamas on and my feet on the cold, you know. And then finally he was just like, "You're not going to do it, are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, you little sucker."
Our 7-year-old challenged you.
So, but literally, I almost talked myself out of it, standing next to the pool in the bathing suit. It had been like that for 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to get uncomfortable.
You wanted to do it,
But
you
my
delayed the
mind
inevitable.
justified so much on why I wanted to just be comfortable, to put my socks on. Now, I know this is a different analogy. It's
Anticipating the pain is part of the
anticipating
process
pain.
too.
So I finally got in, and it took the breath away, and for like 10 seconds. And I looked at him. I said, "Did you start the timer?" He goes, "Oh, no, you didn't tell me to." I was like, "I want my 10 seconds back. I want my 10 seconds back." And he pushed it.
Oh my God.
And next thing you know, he's like, everything after about 40 seconds, things just acclimated. And, I slowed down my breathing and I got in control. And I actually was comfortable. The sun was beating on me. All of a sudden, that sun in that 50-degree weather was warm. And I felt like comfortable as I'm being in discomfort, right? And he goes, "All right, it's been 3 minutes." And I was like, "Nah, I'm going to go, keep going." And it kept going. I ended up going almost 5 minutes. And finally I got out. When I got out, I was walking around drenching wet, 50 degrees, and I was not cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, what changed? And it's just the power in your mind that if you seek discomfort, just life in general gets comfortable. And I'm saying aside from the physiological benefits of it.
Oh, that getting uncomfortable expands your level of comfort.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly. So then things that used to make you uncomfortable in the past, they're so minuscule now.
Yeah.
Like the kids ask me sometimes, "How do you do that? Hey, what do you do?" Like da-da-da. And I'm like, well, those things used to make me uncomfortable, but they don't anymore because I was constantly expanding that comfort zone. So I found ourselves, and I say all that to say that I found recently, we've built a comfortable life. One where you don't need to worry about finances. You don't need to worry about going to a JOB. You don't need to worry about, thankfully, our health right now, or, we got some joint stuff, but I'm talking about chronic health. But I realized we got comfortable. And hence why I started doing the cold dips and the cold showers. Yeah. And this morning I got in and I put the cold shower on. I was like, "You're freaking nuts." That was yesterday. And today I went to do it and it wasn't so bad. And then all of a sudden, and actually that helps with your dopamine too. So if you guys want to look into Wim Hof, that thing is not like some fad or anything like that. There's major universities that are like studying him and have studied him. And it's the real deal. It's incredible. It increases your dopamine, I think 2.5 times. I think it actually increases your dopamine at like a cold burst like that, the equivalent of doing cocaine.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
There's actually, Wim Hof is amazing. And his story is amazing. The book is great. Also, there's research to show too, so you can tie this if we have, people that are listening to us that have also health-related goals, nutrition goals. Most people have built up almost an addiction to certain types of food. So if you have a drink, could be alcohol, could be sugar, it could be certain types of foods that when you think about, you almost know I can't not eat this, or it's something you have to really put your brain through rigorous, no. It's Tuesday. I'm not having a cocktail until Friday. And you really think about it a lot. Then you have an associated dopamine response to that specific 100%. Thing. So these cold dips and stuff too can also help by increasing the dopamine if you're trying to break a habit
without breaking a bad habit and actually increasing healthier habits.
Yes.
I've kind of been on that. I know you read his book a while back. I've not actually haven't even read his book. I get cliff notes from you, and I've studied other people. And I like watching the YouTubes.
Yeah, you do.
Because he's kind of cool.
He's an interesting character, for sure.
And I think that's what it starts with. I think physiologically speaking is the easiest low-hanging fruit to get a quick one. You get the dopamine hit, the adrenaline, all those things, whether it's pushing yourself physically with lifting or running or choose the road less traveled. Like in a hike, it's like I take my kids on a walk and we go up the biggest hill now. And I'm like, because if you go up the biggest hill, everything else is nothing to you,
Yeah.
And
yes,
I think if you start with that, and then for those who want to public speak or you have trouble making connections or networking, it's like my kids, I used to be the guy that wouldn't, when we used to order food from fast fast food places. It's been decades.
That's a long time ago.
But I would not even, I was so shy, I wouldn't even order in the drive-thru.
Yeah.
I'd have to have you in the passenger seat lean over, whoever it was, lean over and order. That's how shy or awkward I was. And now we'll go places and like, they used to say, the kids, they'd be like, did you know that guy? Or did you know that woman? I was like, no. I was like, well, you were talking to him like you knew him. Because you started pressing out of your comfort zone. And then things like that become natural and normal. And then opportunities begin to be able to fit. Like I expanded that rubber band, your comfort zone expands. So there's more things that can fit in there, more dreams, goals, and aspirations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just listening to you speak, it's like, it's making me realize, it's like, especially the story of going into the water and how long it took you just to get yourself to that point. You know, first of all, in that's not comfort, it's complacency. Complacency is when you have this unbiased feeling towards your achievements or lack thereof. Like you don't really have like, you don't think like, it's good enough. It's that, it's good enough type of thing. This is a normal level of achievement. It's fine. Yeah. But in reality, deep down, you do have the longing for more, you know? And that's the divide. That is when you know, okay, well, this isn't actual comfort. This isn't actually good enough.
Yeah, I like the way you said that definition. That's not comfort. Like comfort, because the true definition when you gave that of comfort is no anxiety, no works, no pain, grief. None of that. But people are comfortable, as I put quotes on my finger.
In so much pain.
Yeah, it's not in alignment with the definition.
So I think people need to decide too. It's like, it's the anticipation of something you don't want to feel, why they don't take actions, why they just decide to stay in their false sense of comfort, complacency.
Right.
And, you know, for you with the cold water, it's the anticipation of actual pain. Like this is going to hurt when I get into the water.
Well, let me say something about that, because I think that's why I said physiologically speaking, like do something physical is the easiest low-hanging fruit and biggest reward. But I was listening to Tony Robbins and he said that like you can't change somebody's mind or inspire them, which is to breathe life into them, or even motivate them, which is to push them, depending on how far off they are in depression or just in bad thoughts. If you don't create like a physiological response, like if you get them moving and you get blood flow and you get energy, all of a sudden their mind opens. That's why with what we do is creating people or helping people and assisting people and guiding people to create health in their bodies, we find that then opens up their minds to a whole nother level, because they have a whole nother level of belief because they accomplished something that they've been wanting to do for so long.
Yeah.
That's physiological. That's powerful.
And it actually changes the body's hormones and chemicals.
So like with me, it's like where I am at now in the lenses as I view these things is, for the cold dip as an example, or it could be anything. It could be like not having the drink when I said I was just going to have one and I don't have more. It's, I'm in control, bitch. Not you. And I'm talking to my mind. Yeah. Right? Because oftentimes we forget that the mind is a tool.
Yep.
But the tool is using us versus us using the tool. And I want you to think about that if you're listening to this, because it's so true. And when I realize that, how oftentimes the mind justifies or starts to talk us out of things. And when I stood by that pool and told me that I was comfortable, I didn't have to get in, I didn't need to, like, it's telling me what I didn't have to do or what I needed to do. Go back inside, put some socks on, go get warm. You don't have to do this. You can go sit by the fire. No, I want to get in the pool.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's just like, I'm in control. So that's the two things I really like, is to say, I'm in control of this tool. And it builds grit, and then
mental toughness,
which then expands your comfort zone to where more of your goals, dreams, and aspirations can fit into it.
Yeah. Yep. You can't be this successful person, guru, coach, if you don't build your mental toughness, if you crumble under everything and anything new, you know,
right? The smallest things that you crumble under will define your life, really, in general,
or even emotions. You have to build that mental toughness. So it's like, identify, what are you anticipating that's going to hurt so bad? Is it rejection? Is it cutting out the TV to start reading because you anticipate reading is going to be so boring and you're going to hate it and you love watching your TV shows? Is it just the anticipation of maybe you've got health or business goals and like, how am I going to fit this in?
Yeah.
You know? And so we just keep pushing it off because we've got this anticipation of pain, getting healthy, starting a nutrition plan, you know, the anticipation of not eating certain things that you've come to have, I'll just say it, an unhealthy relationship with. This inanimate food item that you've decided you need in your life so bad that you won't start the health program that you know is going to change the rest of your life, you know?
Right. It's building that mental toughness when you seek that discomfort. Like I can tell whenever we're coaching people by the smallest things that derail them, the smallest things, and we used to be there too. So I'm not like degrading them. I'm just,
we only know this because
we were there once.
Yeah.
But when I see them still 3-4 years later, and I'm like, they will never move forward with no matter the amount of skills that we impress upon them year after year after year, because they're still crumbling whenever they get a runny nose or when, you know, they have a flat tire. That you crumble under the most simplistic, normal life things.
Family things.
And I just look at them, I'm like, until you build that mental toughness, which grows with, which aligns with what we're talking about, getting out of your comfort zone and becoming, you will never. And that's sad that a runny nose and a flat tire, you know, I'm being somewhat facetious, but
brilliant people
very talented people. I mean, some people, I've said it before, like I look at you and like, these people got more talent than I'll ever have.
Shoot, there's so many. We like, if
but what's
we
the difference?
can do it, they certainly can.
Exactly. And I mean that too. That's not just the same, but because I look at them, I'm like, y'all only knew. Y'all can only look into this mind. But the difference is y'all a little bitch. And I'm just mentally more tough. But I had to build that.
Yeah.
But as far as skill set and talent, many of you blow me out the water. So when I say that, I'm also giving you a compliment. So I'm kind of slapping you and hugging you all at the same time.
The hug slap.
It's the hug slap.
I like that. Yeah. That was really good. I was just taking that in.
Take it in, baby.
Take it in. That's so good. So I think about it in this season. I think I'm getting plenty uncomfortable, but the challenge is definitely to identify what you want, identify the actions, and then ask yourself, what complacency have you set yourself in long enough to where you've not taken the actions to go actually build a comfortable life that you want?
Amen.
Yeah. All right, friends. Remember, you deserve to live the life you desire. So go out and create your American dream. And don't forget that you can watch this on YouTube. Leave us a review, like, and subscribe. Do all the things because we love serving you and having community with you.